Welcome, viewers. This is Tex of the Blackpantslegion. Now, this is an interview. I've spoken with admins, hosts, developers, and other creatives behind Space Station 13 before, and they are notoriously antisocial types who generally don't like to talk with or at people for prolonged periods of time, as they are judge, jury, and executioner on a server, and can't be seen demonstrating favoritism, at least in theory. Anyways, here's how this works. I'm putting out an open call to any and all Space Station 13 admins on any public listed servers. This call is here, so answer it. If you're interested in answering or participating in an interview about Space Station 13, its history, and your server, please respond. See the description below for an email contact. I'll try to get to you, and we can set something up. That being said, this is an interviewee with a Space Station 13 admin, or in this case, admins. The questions are largely freeform, and the discussion does not reflect exactly the policy of the server unless otherwise stated by the person I'm interviewing. The reason I say this is I want to encourage an admin to be frank, honest, and open about their experiences without worrying that they're shitting on their server, or to prevent them from being yelled at for representing the server community in a negative way. This is a point of view and not, I repeat, not an absolute definition of doctrine on said server. That being said, I welcome our interviewees in this case. Please, internet persons, tell me your names you wish to go by, your server, and your admin ranks.
Cool. So I am CitrusGender. I am the headman of TG, player vote, and yeah.
Hiya, I'm Rustledjimm. I'm the host vote headman of TG. I've been an admin since October, and yeah, whenever you're ready for questions.
All right, so tell us about your server, as it is long-lasting TG, its history, and what makes it unique in the current day.
Cool. So TG Station has been around for about 8 years, ever since 2010. It branched off originally from Goon Station way back then. I couldn't tell you that much about the original forums, but we did go through a few hosts here and then. We had Scared of Shadows, who stepped down, and then a few others in between that brought us to our current host right now. It's kind of like the golden age of stability under MSO. And yeah, what makes us unique is that we're one of the largest servers right next to Paradise and CM that regularly gets above 80 people, and we probably have one of the most lax rule sets in comparison to those servers. Additionally, one thing that I think makes us really unique is that we've been trying to do recently is that we have a whole bunch of events that we just got around to. We just had the marathon event, and we had a 3v3 toolbox tournament where people beat each other. I did get this third place in that, and we had we had the summer ball and the winter ball, which I just hosted previously.
Summer
but yeah, definitely.
ball and the winter ball.
Yeah. Did you end up going to those?
I was working, but I did hear rumor.
Yeah, so it's just a little role-playing thing we've been trying to do now every 6 months. So it's a little winter ball, a summer ball, you get yourself a in-character date, you go and have a dance in the ballroom, you have some food, you have some drinks, it's a nice role-play event.
And then it gets messed up.
A few max caps, some terrorism, and TB.
Something like that, yeah. It's pretty good.
So, we've talked about what makes your server unique. Why would I, if I was a new player on Space Station 13, I'd open Beyond for the first time, and if I had all the links to all the servers, from you guys being on the very public end of things to, say, LifeWeb being on the very reclusive end of things, why should I choose your server?
So one thing I really like about our server is that everything is player made. If you want to do something on TG, you go out and you do it as a player. One thing I always get messages from people on Discord, and they'd be like, "Hey, what happened during that round? Was it admin bust or something like that?" And I'd be like, "No, that was a player who did that." And oftentimes, most of the players will just make these crazy things. You see people that will make their own shuttle. You'll see people that will make their own bars out in space, and everything is made by the players for the players, and they're going to be the ones that determine the pace of gameplay half the time. Another really good thing about it is that we have a really good system in place of transparency in comparison to other servers. But yeah, no, absolutely, I love it here on TG.
I mean, I would say the niche that we fill is probably because of our Rule 4, which states that antags can do whatever they want, essentially. There's no limits on what antags can do, and that's probably the niche that we fill the most compared, because like you said, servers like Paradise or certain other higher RP servers, because we don't admit it, we are lower on the roleplay scale than many other servers, but we don't put any limits on our antags. Admittedly, Rule 4 is genuinely more for admins than players sometimes. Can you imagine how it must be to constantly boink an antag? Hey, why did you kill that guy? It was like,
Oh,
that's not your objective.
I am all too aware of the majesty of that bullshit.
Yeah, like we don't want to have to investigate every single antag murder. Just be like, oh well, he saw me stealing this, so I have to do that. And it's like it gives the players free reign to not worry when they're in antag that they're not going to get boinked by anything they do. So it lets them be creative, I think.
Well,
In
yeah.
they can do whatever they want essentially.
Well, right. I gave the clown cancer because he tripped me, and I'm a sociopath. Oh, I did that.
Yeah, yeah, no, essentially,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I mean,
we
yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just you can make your own little world and character and persona, and if you want to play a Bond villain or a Machiavellian plotter or a masochist or a sadist or a psychopath, and you're an antag, go for it.
Yeah, essentially, I think our niche is that we don't put any limits on our antags, which allows them to be. I mean, yes, you can go around with an e-sword and e-bow and murder half the crew, but
Yeah, Oni did that in that video, and he got killed by people throwing glass at him, which is one of those ways
It's
where
really creative.
that's where I clap my hands at TG. It's like growing up in Detroit, where someone's flashing a gun and everyone beats them to death with whatever they can pick up. I watched that and I was like, you fucked with the wrong server.
basically,
Absolutely, yeah.
my favorite weapon is probably floor tiles. I love going around with a crowbar and just throwing floor tiles at whoever I'm fighting. They do 15 damage each time. It's great.
So they okay, and for comparison, for the viewers' sake, how much does a toolbox do?
Oh, toolboxes were nerfed because I mean I remember the days of toolboxia where they'd stun you, knock you down, and do like 20 damage or something like that. I think they do 11 from damage now.
They
So
do brain damage too if you hit them in the head, so that's a good way to do it.
so you can do ghetto surgery with a toolbox. You heard it here first, folks.
I forget. I think. Wait, does it? You can do it with a glass shard because it
Oh.
replaces a scalpel.
I've seen quite a few barroom surgeries. So, what would you say is the most common thing, guys, that a new player asks about your station?
That a new player asks about our station. I would say most players you see when they come to TG have genuinely already played on another server. Because obviously, as I said, we're not on the hub,
Yeah.
except for Terry. The biggest issue I found with brand new players, to be honest, is IC and OOC is the biggest issue new players seem to get over. But when they come here and ask about our server, I think it is genuinely people kind of like do like the freedom of the antag, and people don't always. Obviously, we have a very old and a long community that's behind the server. So when a new player joins the server, they don't necessarily know about the whole community, like how in depth they can get, and
We occasionally do get that guy that will ask, "Hey, how do I switch hands?" And then we know we're in for it for the rest of the day.
but I think we're genuinely in a good place because we don't generally get the newer players. I mean, we have people that come on and be like, "Oh, hey, I've got my brother. I'm just teaching him. Is that okay?" And we'll be like, "Yeah, as long as you don't use OOC information. That's it's the big no. Like, we're happy for new players to come on and learn. Obviously, we're not the friendliest place for it. We will admit it. We have some fairly robust people. But yeah, we're always happy for new players to come and learn, and we're always happy for new players to ask in admin help and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
absolutely. Yeah,
Like-
everyone is welcome.
Speaking of admin help, what is the hardest part of being an admin on your server?
The hardest part,
Yeah.
I would definitely say it would be dealing with people that don't realize that you're a volunteer and you're also doing this for your fun time.
Yeah.
Every admin that came beforehand was once a player. Every admin that you see was just a player that someone decided, hey, you look good, and they put them into an administrative position. That's the thing. These people volunteer their time, and then you have people swearing them out, and it helps. It's harsh, but I try to maintain. I know that everyone has a bad day. I know that everyone has trouble every so often. So I try to understand that there's a human on my side, there's a human on their side, and even when it seems ridiculous, the stuff that we're saying to one another, what matters is that we both have fun, and we try to convince people, even when it's difficult, to have fun in this game.
I think the hardest part is getting the player to see the full perspective sometimes. Because obviously a player's A helping you, they've been wrong. Something's wrong with their game. They think that something's happened that isn't right. And they can only see from their perspective. Obviously, as an admin, we have many tools to see from all angles, to see the overview of exactly what's happened. And sometimes it can be hard to get a player to realize, hey, I know this is what you think happened, but that's not actually what happened, and it's not wrong. And obviously players can have trouble accepting that their perspective of what they initially thought isn't right. And it can be hard sometimes to like try and get them to see it from another point of view or another angle. Or sometimes we can't always say it because that would be giving away metagame information as well. So I would say that's probably one of the hardest parts of being an admin, a general admin. Yeah.
So, in talking about admin challenges, what are the greatest challenges you've faced personally? What is one case that pushed you to your fucking limit?
As a headman?
As an admin, a headman.
As an admin, as a headman. As an admin, oh, jeez. I've had many funny A-helps, but many frustrating A-helps.
Remember that one? Actually, I do remember one. I think Russell was in on this one where we had like a two brothers that were getting really mad at one another.
Oh, that was...
Yeah, we needed to calm them both down because one of them. So they were metagaming, but they knew each other, and they both played on the server at the same time. They weren't talking with one another. One of them got really mad at the other one, so he caved himself and got inside of his room, and we had to calm both of them down because they were just so mad and he wouldn't come out of his room because he killed them in game for something completely unrelated.
I remember exactly that situation. Basically, he wouldn't let him play on his PlayStation 4, so he welder bombed him in game. And then he locked himself. And then he locked himself in his room.
Wait.
And I didn't like. I had full ability to permaban both of them for metagaming, but we have a secret rule on TG where if it's funny,
oh yeah,
it's
no.
okay.
It's like Goon Rule 0. If it's. I remember in the olden days of Space Station 13, if it made the admin laugh, it was okay. And
this made me laugh, so I only gave them a day ban each and told them both come back when they both calm down and sort out whatever brotherly issues they had.
That's magic.
But like toughest time as an admin?
Yeah.
As a headman?
Yeah.
It's probably the goofball situation a few weeks ago, if we want to go into that later.
Absolutely. No, I think people would love to hear about that, because with drama, you'll find, at least in my observation, there are people who are professionally outraged at everything. They will stand on the corner and they will say, I can't believe this happened. Here's what I think. Here's how it impacts me. But to hear it from the actual people who know the individuals who are involved and let them speak their piece, whatever that may be, and just vent, is going to be very insightful, I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
but yeah.
Oh no, we will revisit that. Trust me. So, what? Well, I mean, what do you think? Speaking of challenges, what do you think are the greatest challenges with Space Station 13 today, at least from the perspective of your server?
Absolutely. I think that keeping the game interesting for people is probably the most important thing, especially for a game that has gotten into 8 years existing now. It's kind of difficult because you always want to do something different. You always want to do something new. You want to put new ideas out there. And this is not particularly a policy type of thing. This deals with the coder base. You want to make something that will keep people back and bring people back to the server each day so that they can enjoy it. Like VR. We just added VR recently. Trying to buff it out a little bit. It has a few problems, but yeah.
Goon VR or Vive VR?
It's you go in like a little pod, and then it teleports you to a away mission, and you can basically just shoot people as much as you want. Although I will say if it is emagged and you die in the game, or sorry, if you die in VR, you die in Space Station 13.
Now that's interesting. Goons have had VR for a while, but you have to put on goggles and you're just standing there. So often people find themselves relocated into welded shut lockers, coffins, and or crushers.
No, for us it's like a sleeper. They sit in a sleeper.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Right. Okay, so it's a little different.
I disagree with Citrus. I think we have a very strong coder team, and I don't think that's our greatest challenge. It is certainly a challenge to keep the game interesting.
Yeah, they're strong. Absolutely.
Unlike many servers, we obviously have a separation of coder base and administration teams. Like many people, the headman will also control the coders, etc., etc. But with TG, they're very separate. Now there are coders who are admins, but as headmans, we cannot tell what is merged and pulled and demerged. We have no control over that at all. But the biggest challenge, I think, is role-playing standards. Now, keeping role-playing standards is like pushing a rock up a hill.
Role-playing on TG? Are you insane?
we have, I would say, two groups of players. We have the mechanical players, and we have the role-playing characters.
So you're being very polite. You're saying we have power gamers and we have people who care.
Yes.
All right.
That's I call them the mechanical players and the role-playing players.
Well, it's like when they talk about boxing, they say, "Oh, he's very technical. He's very technically talented." What they mean is he's really good at beating the shit out of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think TG is a place that, although we aren't high RP, so we won't satisfy high role players, there is sometimes some very wonderful instances of role play and people playing their characters. And I love that. I'm more of the role playing side myself. I'm not a very robust person, I'll admit that myself. But I think TG is a place where both role players and mechanical players can come, but the challenge is keeping the role playing standard, at least some sort of role playing standards, not delving into a death match. And it's a fine balance, and it's a difficult balance, and we don't always get it right in our admin decisions. And I think that's probably the greatest challenge I found as an admin and a headman. I don't code myself, so I can't say anything about the code. So,
well, here's a follow-up question to that. I know we discussed a little bit before the recording of this interview. We just kind of got to know each other, hanging out, having some drinks, cocaine, whatever you like. But the thing is that we talked about role-playing standards and servers, and we think that it's very difficult. I think we can all agree on medium roleplay, that magic middle notch that appeals to both groups. But do you think that possibly, with the popularity of TG going up and up and up and up, the technical role players, or technical players, shall we say, those who beat ass, are vastly outnumbering those who try to create characters and role play through their engagements?
I actually ran a poll a while back just to figure out the idea that people have whenever they go into the server, whether or not they're here for the role playing or whether or not they're here to, just learn about the mechanics. I definitely think that specifically TG does have a little bit more than other servers, and there will be those people who will do that. And there are also those people who try to get the middle line they'll role play sometimes. They'll talk to people. But I will say that you will get a lot of instances on TG, especially since people run so fast where you won't say anything to anyone. You'll just walk past them in the hallway, and then you get randomly out of nowhere, you get stunned. So that and you have no idea where it came from because everything was going by so fast, and you got one robust person who's just out to get you. That happens every so often, and that's definitely going to happen on our server. I don't think that they're outnumbering them, but I think that I think role playing exists in like a bubble sometimes. It definitely happens in the bar if you stay around there, but it exists, but it's not exactly getting any bigger in comparison to the power gamers that you're referring to.
All right.
See, myself, I'd probably say, as I said earlier, it's like pushing a rock up a hill sometimes. I myself, I'll roleplay, but like many players, when shit hits the fan, so to say, you think about life and limb. You stop thinking about roleplay. And I think part of that is because obviously the way Space Station 13 works, especially in TG with how fast we move, standing still can mean death, but to talk you need to stand still. And that is probably the thing that's most detrimental probably to roleplay on TG, is because we have such a fast combat. I don't think mechanical players are maybe out. There is certainly a tilt towards mechanical players, but as I say, I like trying to find a balance where people can still roleplay, but then we also, when shit hits the fan, you get to whip out your guns and start having a bit of different kind of fun, if you get what I mean.
Oh yeah. So, speaking of role players, this is one I love asking, and I know there are certain people who fit this category on TG. How do you combat special snowflakes?
I have a problem with someone who tries to make themselves the protagonist of the game, and that happens every so often. That you'll find people who, well, we actually don't have the stuff on other servers where you can write the long drawn out descriptions of yourself. I think we'll be adding that soon, but luckily we haven't had that culture too much. It definitely exists in some parts of TG, and we try to encourage people to never, what happens in previous rounds happens in previous rounds. So if you are a special snowflake and you do it all out, you're gonna you're definitely gonna get the community that's gonna look down on you, and you're definitely gonna have players who will probably do bad things to you. And a lot of times it's player enforced because they'll hate it and they'll get into conflicts with these people. And if you are a special snowflake and if you have that type of attitude, you got to be ready to back it up.
Yeah, I would say TG is one of the few places where you possibly can't be entitled, because players not only will you'll eventually cross the admins, you'll cross the players a lot quicker than you'll cross the admins.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, I find it's funny in TG, if someone is the quote-unquote protagonist, they fall into two categories. One, the infamous Catgirl Meta Club, or two, someone who is on loan or vacation from another server who has no idea what they're doing, and TG often will punch their teeth down their throat very, very quickly. So speaking of Metacoms and the Meta Club, what is your guys' opinion on that as headmans?
Well, metacomming is always an issue. Now, we have a very strict metacomming rule. I mean, just today we had the marathon round just the other day. It didn't go that well, unfortunately. It didn't last that long because the server crashed. Where several players had talked to each other beforehand about what character names they were going to have. And so they would give each other advantages, and obviously that is always an issue. And luckily we managed to catch it, and because someone reported it, and we managed to catch it and have them banned. And you mentioned Catgirl Metagaming.
Correct.
And yes, there is a group of people that play cat people. I myself play a cat person as my static.
Oh, no.
I know. Will Baker, my static. I'm probably, gonna get my head caved in telling everyone my static now in Space
Hold on,
Station.
let me take that down.
He does it, I don't.
He was a human. And I specifically changed him to a cat boy in September 2017 when there was a huge rage about cat girls even existing and cat people. So I changed him to a cat boy to basically piss off the cat haters because of a few pixels on top of a player's head.
Right. Now, I I have to interrupt you at that point. What happened with the fucking laser pointers and cat people? Because that was goddamn hilarious.
It was hilarious.
It was reverted, yeah.
That was hilarious. I loved it. Even as a cat person, a cat player, I loved it. I found it hilarious. But as I said, we don't have control over the coder base, so you can't blame us for it being reverted. That's entirely on our
It was
maintainers
funny,
and head
though.
coder.
I don't speak for us on here. I thought it was the funniest thing, and I wish they brought it back because we have a really powerful security cat boy, and he kept on getting toppled over every time he would play. So they ended up reverting it after enough people got angry that play cat girl.
There is a group, but getting back to the question, there is a group or a metagang of cat girls, yeah, or cat people. I'm not a part of it, can I just say? Can I just say that? Is that okay?
It's been noted, but go
I
ahead.
play a cat boy, but I don't go nya and shit like that.
Yeah, that's
take that out of context. Don't
yeah,
take that out of context. Thank you.
No, I'm just.
I throw them in trash cans personally.
See, this man has his priorities straight.
Citrus does. It's always a challenge. As I say, as an admin, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We are fairly good, I think, at picking up obvious metagaming. And we know a few players who have strayed the line of trespassing information, possibly, but without evidence, obviously, you can't ban. We don't ban without a reason, and we'll probably get back to that later as well. But and we can be quite lenient sometimes, but metagaming is one of those things we're not lenient on. That's a straight up permaban. You've not only broken the trust of admins, but you've broken the trust of players because you're trying to give yourself an out of game advantage, which I find against the spirit of Space Station 13 in a way.
Yeah, I stand by everything Russell says as well.
Except for the cat people, of course.
Except for the cat people, yeah.
All right. I think you guys have kind of answered the traditional questions of what makes a good admin good and what makes a bad admin bad. I usually ask that of most admins, but I think you've kind of gone over it in understanding that people will have bad days, especially with those brothers who had barricaded themselves in opposite ends of the house over a PlayStation. But what would you say, in many cases, are traits that make a bad admin horrible or a good admin great?
Being aggressive. We had an issue with an admin a few weeks ago. Not a few weeks, sorry, this was months ago now. And he would be very aggressive in his A-helps now, and it would put the player on the back foot and make them defensive straight off, even if they possibly went in the wrong. And they were talked to a few times about it, and it didn't improve, unfortunately. But there is that's what I think makes a bad admin bad, is when they don't see themselves as a mediator. That's what we mostly do. We mediate between players who are having a dispute. We aren't people who, we don't hunt people down who are breaking the rules. That's not our job. We're volunteers. We just mediate. And making a bad admin is someone who actively hunts for a reason to ban a player.
So you're not pulling the His Imperial Majesty's Inquisition, a plea of innocence is guilty of wasting my time.
Yeah, hunting for a reason to ban a player is what I think makes a bad admin. And we all have those bad days where we'll have, like you said, you had that bad day. I think we talked about this previously with your plasma cigars, and admins can have bad days too. We admit that, but it's when it's consistent. It's a consistent thing. That's what makes a bad admin. Now, what makes a good admin good? What makes a good admin good is kind of the opposite. It's someone who can diffuse a situation
Well,
very
of
well.
course.
You got an angry player. My most rewarding A helps is where I've had a player come to me angry and frothing, and it ends with them understanding, happy, even if they weren't right in the A help, they understand what happened, and they understand that I have looked into it for them. I've made attempts to resolve it if there was an issue. Yeah, and obviously I'm not much of a, is the meme correct? Is meme admin the correct term? I don't push a lot of buttons myself. I don't think pushing buttons makes you a good admin, okay? People will disagree. Um, there are some admins who are great at running events, and they make rounds for players, and that's great. But at the base of it, the base of being an admin is you have to be able to diffuse situations, and that's what makes a good admin great.
Yeah, and I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that Russell, I agree with mostly of everything that he says. The thing about a good admin, though, I do like is being very understanding and being, as you said earlier, being able to see that people have bad days. And, you turn a bad situation where someone is angry, someone might get killed, and, you tell them that it's been handled. You tell them that you've done everything in your power. And, that does make some people angry, but if you're willing to roll the punches and you're not willing to ban people out of spite, then people are gonna know that your server doesn't have admins. You hear all the time about servers that have problems. They'll have a staff team that is just angry, and people talk. People talk about servers that have admins. People will they'll think in their head, that person dislikes me for whatever reason, so I'm not going to play on there. I don't want to have that happen. And those are the admins that get angry and they lash out personally at people. It's difficult, but you shouldn't do that because those players remember and players talk. And we want to make sure that we foster that type of environment where people who are good admins, they stay on, they're nice to people, they handle situations. And, even when stuff gets really bad, the ones that are able to remain calm and collected are the ones that probably flourish the best and the ones that I like the most on our server.
All right, now this leads into the next question, which is very, very contentious, I know, on TG. On the balance between shitcurity and the Grey Tide.
I am firmly shitcurity, by the way.
Okay, what is your opinion on how to maintain said balance? And please don't answer it with Edward Sloan.
I want to step in here. I want to say that
Edward Sloan.
Edward Sloan. Yeah, no. The balance between greytiding and the balance between security, it's always going to be contentious. The thing about it is, I've noticed that greytides are kind of policing themselves now. They've been kind of making these smaller communities where they prevent people from, acting out, making all greytides look bad. I'd say that it's gotten a little bit better over the years, but at the same time, you're right.
Indeed, I believe there is now a Greytide code of conduct, I think, that they set out for themselves to try. It sounds very anti-tide, but Citrus, you were a tider before you became an admin.
I was a tider, and yeah, no, think about this. I made sure we never killed people. We never wanted to actually go out of our way to make people's rounds unfun. We did overthrow the station once, but we did it peacefully. So I will say that we avoided any boinks and making anyone's round unfun. But at the same time, and there are security players who will they'll try very hard to make sure that people don't get abused. They actually follow space law on our server, even though it's a suggestion. And again, it just depends on the person. Sometimes people have a bad day and they bring it out in the game. Those people get dealt with OOC-ly if they cause OOC problems, and they'll get dealt with IC-ly if they cause IC problems.
I mean, I am on the other side, because I mostly play engineering and security, so I'm quite often a security player. So I'm on the other side of the fence for Citrus here, and Greytiders provide some fun from the monotony when antags aren't doing anything, I will admit. Now, when it comes to policing tiders, there are some unspoken rules or some written down rules in TG where if a tider does a certain thing, they are basically marked for death. So raiding armory and raiding the captain's office will mark you for death straight up. Because there was obviously an issue where a tider would break into the captain's office 2 minutes into the round, steal the spare ID and stuff like that, and it would happen every single round. So eventually it just became basically a touch the captain's office and you die. Anything else, you can get arrested, whatnot, but captain's office armory, that's your tider life forfeit. so to say. But when it comes to policing tiding, if a player does it too often, this is what we say, is that gimmicks are fine, but if you do the same thing round after round after round, eventually you're gonna get boinked. As gimmicks are funny once, or twice, or 3 times, but they're rarely funny every single round.
All right, that's a very good answer. So we're gonna get into some fun shit. We've tackled, I think, a lot of the generic questions, so we're gonna get into some fun stuff. Question 1 on the fun stuff list. In your opinion, gentlemen, what is the best AI law set you've ever seen in terms of what mayhem, madness, and humor, and fun, and joy it impacted the game with?
The I Am a Real American law set. Absolutely that one. I love that one so much. I think the first law is you are a real American. The second one is fight for the rights of every man. And third one is fight for your life. And the reason I say this one is because I have a specific. I remember once I was playing while this law set was on. I think someone did it for 4th of July, and I did it way back when. I actually subverted the AI while it had this law set. So I made my character. I one-humaned it, but I one-humaned it in the context of its laws. So I said my character, Ian Smith, fights for the rights of every man, and he was like. Oh yeah, so that happened, and then someone else tried to subvert them, but they didn't use like the context of the laws. So they just, I was in the binary channel with them, just talking with them, like, no, I'm not gonna talk with that guy because he didn't follow my laws. And even though he kept on uploading these really bad laws, he just like, no, I'm gonna fight with you because you're a real American. I love the AI law so much. It's terrible sometimes, but that was definitely my best experience.
Yeah, I have to admit the I'm a Real American law set is definitely a special one in place there. I miss the old Britmov set. It's funny saying that you mentioned American and I mentioned a British one being British, but yeah, Britmov was actually, I think, very disliked because people kept spamming it almost every round, and it eventually died away because people got boinks over it. As I say, a gimmick's funny once, twice, maybe 3 times, but every round gets a little tiring. But I like RoboCop personally. Maybe it's because I love the film, but I love the RoboCop law set.
Protect the weak, uphold the public trust. Kind of a paladinish law set.
Yeah, kind of. It gives the AI a bit of leeway in what they want to do, especially for a good AI. I love a good AI player.
No, gentlemen, the next question is going to absolutely make you rack your memory. What is the best trader you've ever seen as an admin, and why?
Oh, Goliath on a bicycle. Definitely Goliath on a bicycle. Do you remember that one, Russell?
On a bicycle.
Yeah. So, all right, this one miner, he got the potion that turned himself into a Goliath, and he's like, "Oh, I got 20 TC, and I don't know what to do with this." So I'm like, "All right, well, what do you got?" And he's like, "Oh, can I get a bicycle?"
Oh my
like,
god,
oh.
yes, I
This
remember
is-
Goliath on a bicycle now. Oh god, yeah.
It's a horror. Okay, so it was probably a bad idea in retrospect, but this is when I don't think they can do it anymore, but they were able to do it at the time. Goliath was able to get on the bicycle, even though it has 4 legs, and it got back to the station. It just went around like just hitting people, like hit and running people with the tentacles. And it was the funniest thing. The entire station was just like looking for it. Like the AI was screaming and announcing, "There's a Goliath on a bicycle! There's a Goliath on a bicycle! Someone needs to find it." Eventually he went too hard and he lost his bicycle into space, so he just became a Goliath. But it was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen, was that Goliath just going around hitting and running people.
The best anti-consistently for me, at the moment, definitely, is probably Lexia Black, a rather well-known player at the moment on TG, in that they're playing quite a lot lately, and they have some very creative ways of killing a lot of people. It's great. I love watching them. I remember one time it was as simple as they built 2 electrified grills in a hallway, they smashed all the lights in and put conveyor belts on it, and people just kept running into it. I ran into it, which is why I discovered it, because I just ran straight into it and just started getting zapped over and over again on the conveyor belts. They must have killed about 25 people before someone kind of like stopped them. But they come up consistently. That was just one of their many, many ways to keep coming up with new ways to kill people. And it's great because I love them because, as I say, they come up with new ways all the time. They don't just stick to the same old stuff. It's great.
All right. And equally a good question. What is the worst admin you've ever seen?
Are we allowed to answer ice packs?
Okay, all right, yeah, ice packs.
However you like.
Yeah, there was one admin previously. Some people, he's a very divisive figure. I remember he was before our time. He did blow up some people. He gave some guy brain damage for asking why the nuclear bomb had radiation, which was funny.
Wait. Say that again.
He gave someone brain damage because they prayed, why does the nuke have radiation?
That is funny though.
Yeah, no.
But that's probably the worst admin I had interactions with myself. I've heard a lot worse, but what I've personally witnessed, he was probably one that I wouldn't be admin again. No, sorry, Ice Packs, if you're listening.
It's all right.
You're a good player, but not exactly admin material. I'm sorry.
All right. So, what is the best and favorite round of Space Station 13 you've ever witnessed, and why? I mean, something you could show people and say, "This is why I love this game. This is why I played this game."
So, to kind of get back as to what I was talking about previously about how everything's player made, Russell was here for this round, so he'll be able to back me up on this. There was one round where we were, there was a whole bunch of people. Somehow we all ended up messing around in the dorms. We were fighting around. We were like fighting in the holodeck, and it just started getting really crazy. I remember I got my legs chopped off, which happens a lot, by the way. That's a very common trope that my legs will get chopped off. It's some kind of meme to do with my player. And they put a cat girl skirt on me, and they put the cat ears on my head, and they made me lift weights. So I was very angry about that, but I just dealt with it. I was lifting weights without legs. Come to think about it, though, while we were there, everything went off during that time. Like, there's a whole bunch of problems that went off during that time. We get out of the dorms and we realize, wait, the dorms is not connected to the rest of the station. Like, what's going on? Apparently a singularity rolled straight through and it missed us, and we didn't realize it at the time because we were doing other stuff. And come to find out, a player causes this much chaos in the server, making 2 singularities on the station running through, and they also somehow get bubblegum on the station and also an ash drake on the station, all by themselves. And so we get onto ASA, and we're like, hey, or admin say, we're like, hey, who did this? This is an admin event? And like, no, it was completely player made. A player did this.
Yeah, there were 2 singularities, 2 megafauna on the station. I believe also the megafauna are immune to singularities, so except they get pulled in by them. So if you got close to the singularity, Bubblegum you get aggroed by Bubblegum and he'd chase after you and knock you down, and then you get sucked into the singularity. It was like a double team whammy with Bubblegum and the singularity for a while.
Jesus. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and it was all player made.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's there are just some of those rounds that just stick in your head, and there are many of them. There are many rounds that just stick in my head, and I just think, holy fucking shit, that actually happened.
So, what is your favorite event, and why? While you're at the least favorite event, for contrast.
So, as I kind of talked to a little bit about earlier, I really enjoyed the previous televised events that we had with the balls, the dance balls. We had the winter one, the summer one. I really enjoy those. I actually made the map for them myself. We made like this beach palace, And I really enjoyed that the community was able to come together and kind of enjoy themselves and not kill themselves for one day. But now, it's not to say that people did end up killing themselves, but at the same time, it had that mix of TG roleplay and TG fun. Like we had like mechs dancing on the dance floor. We had people, like actually painting, and they had people who were, role playing. But at the same time, we had well, mechs dancing is not very good role playing, but we had volcano bike racing, which was freaking awesome. So many people died, but that was the biggest highlight, where we had this volcano track where people had bicycles and they were able to race them. Everyone died because you go so fast on the bicycle. That was probably my favorite event. Russell could say his favorite one.
The balls were very good. I really enjoyed the balls, but this event that stands out to me, and I say this is funny because the balls are a role playing event, and I like to classify myself as a role player anyway. But the event that stands out to me is in December last year. We had a tournament because a player had put up, was it $50 or $100 of Steam
It was like 70.
vouchers?
It's like,
Was it
yeah, it was
70?
a lot. Yeah.
They put up $70 of Steam vouchers for Christmas and said, I want the players to fight over this. So we set up an arena. We set up 3 arenas, and we got people to form teams of. Was it 3 or 4 now?
It was 3. It was 3. Yeah, I was in it.
3. Yeah, you were in it. And so players would set up teams of 3. There was a person at a reception. They'd hand in their piece of paper to the reception, who was an admin, and we'd write down the names of each of the teams, the team names, the people in the teams, and then we set up a tournament. So the two teams would fight each other. One would win and move on to the next fight, and until eventually there was a final big fight with the 2 final teams fighting off for this $70 to split between themselves. And I would love to do that again. Personally, because it was the first time we did such a thing. In hindsight, there were many ways we could refine it and make it better. And I would love to run that again. It would just be, even if not for money, but just for fun. Actually, I'd love to do that again.
I got 3rd place in that event. I just want everyone to know that I got 3rd place. 3rd place team.
It is noted for the record. 3rd place.
I think there were about 10 to 12 teams as well, so that's no small feat, I'd say, for TG anyway.
And there was a consolation prize.
What was it?
Oh no, there was no consolation
I
prize.
thought you were like, there was something even worse.
It was a tiny trophy that got removed at the end of the round.
So brutal. So brutal. So, what is your opinion on one of my favorites and some people's least favorites? What is your opinion on Nations rounds?
Oh my god, Nations.
Hail Cargonia.
Nations plus admins, nations plus.
Nations is hilarious just because actually they end up really well depending on the people that do them. It's just they're definitely renowned for being one of the craziest ones, just because you have the assistants who have no idea what they're a part of, and then you have all the other nations where they're just trying to fight for being relevant. So I enjoy it if it's done correctly. It takes a good game master, it takes a good admin it takes a good VM to look at that and say, how can I make this fun for everyone involved, even if they get kicked in halfway through. Nations is good though. I think it can go really well if you do it correctly.
It can go well, and I think the only reason it's remembered fondly, personally, is because it's not run that often. I think if it was run more often, people wouldn't like it, but that's my own opinion. I do enjoy it when I play it myself, but I wouldn't want to be playing it too often now.
So, what is your least favorite role? What is your
Ling.
most favorite role?
I hate Ling. I hate Lings. I hate everything about Lings.
Okay.
If I was head coder, I'd remove Lings or change them. I just hate them so much.
But
personally.
why? Why Lings?
Especially the way they were. You suck someone's DNA, they can't be cloned. You take them out the round permanently. If you kill someone as a traitor,
Yeah.
They can be cloned, unless you blow them up or something like that. And also, like, a traitor, you hit them down, they die, that's it. A Ling, you hit them down, you get them into crit, and then they pop back up and run out into space or something. They're just... I personally think they're slightly overpowered, but as I say, I have no control over the codebase. My favorite antag is Blob. I love playing Blob. Oh god, I love a good Blob. We removed Blob Round, obviously, last year, but it's still a side antag that can spawn randomly after 30 or 40 minutes. There is currently a running joke among the admins, because I have
Oh, here we go.
several times now since I've become a headman, and every single time, if I look like I'm about to win, which does happen quite a bit, because I do enjoy Blob, they will send the station nuke codes and blow up the station before I can win.
Guilty.
And they do this consistently. It's become a running joke now that if I'm a blob and I'm about to win, blow up the station before I win. And I'm very sad that it's become a running joke because I haven't had a blob win now in months.
We'll never again.
It's bullying. It's bullying. You're bullying me.
So what is your guys' favorite roles? What brings the most spice to your life?
Definitely CMO for me. I really enjoy playing as CMO, and I'm one of the people that people know about previously playing CMO. And the reason why I like it so much is that everyone's happy to see you if you're doing a good job. If you're doing a bad job, then no one's happy to see you. But as CMO, you're always there. You're always there to heal people, and you're always there to help people. I kind of power game, but in a good way. I make these patches that are, 39 Synth Flesh and 1 Strange Regent. And if you can use, apparently, well, I'm probably going to get this nerfed now that I say it, but you can use it on dead people. So whenever you use that Synth Flesh on dead people, you can repair their body, and the Strange Regent will bring them back to life. So I'll just, like, put them on dead bodies, and just people will revive out of nowhere, and they'll be so confused, be like, wait, how am I alive? How did I get back alive? And they'll always be so thankful, and people will be like, what the heck did you do? You're Jesus. I'm like, no, thank you. And I really like it just because of that fact that, you know, people are always happy to see you, and you get to help people on the station.
I've already said I usually main engineering or security. I love building stuff. I love repairing stuff. I don't know what it is, but I find it enjoyable to go around the station. Oh, here, this is bombed here. Oh, I'll go repair that. And I love fixing things. And security, I do enjoy security every now and then as a bit of combat. My least favorite role is probably science. I don't really go into science. I don't think you stated your favorite antags though, Citrus, in the earlier question.
Oh, my favorite antags. Tell you the truth, I don't like playing antag that much, to be honest with you. I just like. Is that different?
Yeah.
So the thing about antag is that I like helping people. There will be some rounds where I'll just get antag and I just be like, I don't care. So I'll just play normally and I'll just do everything. And people are like, wait, you were an antag? I'm like, yeah, I was an antag. I just didn't care, honestly.
I'd like to say that's not as uncommon as you think. There are players who just turn off antag completely. I know.
Well, I keep it on, but I just don't use it.
Wow. Deep thinks, big think. Big brain.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of people have asked me to ask this of you, especially. Why do you motherfuckers never answer our prayers?
Because your prayers are usually shit.
No.
See, now that's an honest answer I can respect.
I will say, if I see a chaplain who puts a lot of effort into what he does, and he makes all the wire art, and he makes like the candles, and he turns off the lights in the chapel, and he asks for a gondola or something ridiculous, I'll be like, yeah, sure, I can honor that request. I can do that for him once. But it's because if it's specifically you, then you're not putting enough effort, or there might not be any admins online. Just put more effort into it then.
Like if I don't answer your prayer, it's either not good, or I'm in a bad mood. It's just not good enough to make me laugh or something like that, or have a response. Yeah, there's no easy way to say this. If we're not answering your prayers, it's generally because the prayer's probably shit. I'm sorry.
So
I'm sorry.
try again,
yeah.
or abandon.
Oh, if you start spamming prayers, then that's just reasons for me to ignore you even more. I'm sorry.
You get a supply pod dropped on your head.
Oh, all right. No, this
Don't-
is good.
Don't spam prayers, please. That's what I'll say. Especially as I'm gonna get this now, aren't I? Where people are gonna spam it as chaplain, because every time a chaplain prays, we get a hallelujah sound. Yeah, that's if a chaplain spams that, I get mildly miffed. I don't usually get miffed as an admin, but
So, what is the most rewarding part of being an admin?
Probably the friendships that we make along the way. And I know that sounds cheesy as heck, but it legitimately is.
where's that meme?
It's legitimately the people that we meet along the way. I love talking to people. I love making the friendships with people, and I love, solidifying the types of people that we meet on the server, and saying that they're my friends, and so that they can talk to me. And legitimately, that's all that this game is. In the end, it's a game. It's something where you can enjoy yourself, and I get a lot of enjoyment out of talking to people. I get a lot of enjoyment out of discussing things with people in admin bus, and ultimately that's probably the most rewarding experience is the as cheesy as it sounds, the friends I made along the way.
So the best ship is the friendship.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
For me personally, we're players as well. And we enjoy the game. Everyone enjoys the games in their own ways, but we enjoy the game as well. And so what makes me happy is allowing other players to also enjoy the game. Because this is something we all share. It really is something we all share. And there are people out there who, they come here for their own fun and not for everyone else's fun.
Right.
But a shout out to those people that come for everyone's enjoyment, because you make SS13 enjoyable for everyone.
So, in your opinion, and this is where things are going to get a little divisive, but in your opinion, what is the most rewarding part of being an admin in terms of casting your vote on the most contentious vote of all? What is the best fucking map on your server?
I enjoy Metastation the most. I remember when Metastation was first brought in, and oh my god, was it hated! People hated the change. I mean, it's classic Space Station 13. Something changes,
Now,
you re-add
well,
it.
yeah, but now Metastation is essentially default.
Yeah, Metastation is now loved. It took a while, but I remember many maps. I mean, I remember the old Goon Station Donut map.
Yeah.
With the giant engine in the middle, with like 3 R-walls between a corridor and Burning Inferno.
Yeah.
That has some good memories. I love that old station. But of the current stations, I like Metastation the most. There's been some discussion recently about removing because it's very hard to maintain a map. Mapping is very tedious. So some of the maps have become slightly outdated. So there is discussion coming up about whether some maps should be removed so we can consolidate mapping efforts into perfecting a fewer maps rather than having a few unfinished maps, if you know what I mean.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What maps do you think should, in your opinion, disappear from TG?
Well, recently one of our mappers, Okan, went to CM.
Yeah.
And obviously CM has their policy where if you work for them, you can't work for anyone else.
Correct.
And they have 2 maps that they maintain on our station, so it's possible we may have to remove those 2 maps as they won't be maintained anymore unless someone steps up to do so. And that's Omega and Delta Station.
I would be sad to see Delta go. I was the first captain of Delta.
Delta's the better of the 2, certainly. I think Omega's still quite unfinished because they left before they fully finished it.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I would say there is discussion about removing some of those. Yeah.
I personally love Delta Station just because of the fact that it was gigantic, and probably because I am a greytider. So I love going around in maintenance, just looking at everything and looking at all the crazy stuff. I know that they have a fighting den back there, which you can repair. And you probably know about that. They have a fighting den where you can go around and
No, Randolph P. Checkers has found much wonderful profit in the hallways of Delta Station.
Yeah, and you essentially have another map going on there. You essentially have an entire map which people can make bars. They can make like their own society over there.
Yeah, no, I mean, and when things, it actually requires security to patrol regularly.
Yeah, I do like Delta, where it almost has a station within a station inside the maintenance area. That is something special about it.
It feels sprawling, I think.
Yeah, yeah, it does. So yeah, but that discussion is coming up soon, probably. So if any,
I think we got some people who are willing to step in. Yeah.
yeah, we're hoping someone will step in to maintain either both of them or at least one of them. So because we do also need smaller stations for smaller population. As much as people dislike smaller stations, it's not great being in a giant station with only 10 of you walking around it. It's just not interesting.
It's also not like you guys regularly rotate Bird Boat.
Oh, Bird Boat.
I have, I think, 610 maybe episodes of Space Station 13 at this point, and I have 2 on Bird Boat, and I remember both of them because they're like a hemorrhoid in my brain. It's fucking horrible station. I fucking hate Bird Boat so goddamn much.
Like Marmite, some people love it and some people hate it, and
No.
I don't know.
It is the worst fucking thing in the world, and I'm glad I can have that on the record finally.
I like the emergency shuttle though. The emergency shuttle with all the parrots on it. That's
No,
probably my favorite.
it's just at the end you don't even notice the parrots because you don't give a fuck anymore. It's
You're leaving.
Yeah, it's like if the asteroid station crashed into Bird Boat, 1, it'd smash it completely, but 2, it would be, you'd be like, oh, all right, cool, we get to leave. I don't care. It's so bad.
I think another recent map that was quite widely hated by the players was Sire Station.
Yeah, Ceres, I liked the idea of it, but it seems like you guys, I guess, didn't have enough time to kind of finish it out, because I like the idea of big, sprawling, long arms between stuff, but
yeah,
there was a lot of shit that just didn't work right.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that didn't work right. I forget who the mapper for that now was, unfortunately, off the top of my head, but yeah, I don't think they were able to refine it. And also, there was the constant, line of suicides outside the HOP's office every single time it popped up.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the classic, oh, it's Sire Station, suicide hotline.
People kept dying over in space as well because they would get in disposals and they would accidentally die because there's no oxygen in between the little station parts.
I loved the disposal of Sire Station. It was so creative.
It kind of reminds me of the disposals on Cogmap 2 on Goon, where it just shoots around everywhere.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, you can do really creative things in Space Station 13. I mean, I like Sirius Station because it was different, but at the same time, it's just we can only do so many maps, and whenever someone makes a new one, we'll always be happy to add something on. We do have, well, it's not in any active development, but there is Planet Station. Might happen soon, might not happen soon. Stay tuned. But that's probably gonna shake it up a little bit if it does come out.
Okay, now here's a good one I had submitted from the community. Is there any management, direct management from the admin side or anything behind the scenes applied to pull priorities?
No. Codebase is separate. I mean, we can change configs, so say something is enabled, like say a recent discussion obviously was clock call, where we decided clock call was not going the way as a administration, it wasn't going the way we wanted. The coder had stopped working on it, and it wasn't. We ran polls on it for the player base saying, hey, do you enjoy this? Do you like this? Is Clock Cult a game mode you want to play? And the answer came back no. So we disabled the config for it.
It was close.
It's still currently on the code, but there have been maintainers who are just removing it because we don't use it anymore. That is the only way we can affect code, is we don't use it so the coders go, oh, they don't use it anymore, should we remove it? that's the only way we can affect the code. We can't tell maintainers pull this, merge this. We can test merge things. Like we test merged waddling the other week because it was funny.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, that. Ugh.
yeah, we test merge waddling. But all we can do is we can test merge. We cannot permanently merge anything. Head coder, who our current head coder, is very adamant about this, and I agree with him that code base and administration should be run separately and shouldn't have power over the other. And it's been that way for a long time on TG.
And ultimately, I think it is a good thing that we do have some separation, because it doesn't, it definitely causes some strange stuff and some stuff that we don't want, but it gives them the freedom and the liberty to do things the way they want to do it. I'm personally I have submitted a few PRs before as well. I think I'm the only headman on the team that has actually coded something. Not that much. I just do fixes and like minor stuff like that. But I think it is definitely a good thing, because we have a very, very good coder base. I think there was last year, 2017, we were, in terms of comments, for whatever that means, we were the most active coder base, or the 7th most active coder base on GitHub. So
we were
yeah.
the 7th most commented repo on the whole of GitHub.
Yeah, that says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, we were almost as commented as the entirety of Rust or Microsoft, I believe. It does say something, and I think, going back, I mentioned how TG allows antags to be creative. I think not having any administrative control over the coder base allows our coders and our coder bus to be creative as well, and give the freedom to do what they want, basically, and take the game in the direction they think is best.
Now, a trend that I've noticed, and this was another one forwarded by the community, is that it's somewhat slow, spotty, and irregular in where a department will be updated. So much so that you'll have like botany, which popularly is believed to be, and it's also my opinion, I have to disclose, is massively overpowered. Whereas some departments will barely get a new addition within 12-month period. So what do you think that is?
Yeah, I definitely have seen that before as well. Botany has definitely been one of the really good types of departments where you can get killer tomatoes and you can get stuff that can instantly kill people.
You can out chemistry, you can out bomb science, you can clone people. I mean, and you can make insta death kill or insta heal chems. So it's
yeah. Well, the thing about it is, for botany specifically and other departments, is that if you see something that you think would be interesting changing it, you can go out of your way and you can make a PR and change things the way that you want to change them. It's largely different by the players. So I speak to a lot of people who might say that you have a problem with a certain department. If you're creative, if you can code, or if you want to learn how to code, it's really not that difficult. Go for it. Go for it. Make your creative ideas. Ask people, and then try to change things in the way that you want it to be, so that you can make things more interesting and balance. At the same time, we have some the maintainers and the head coder has oversight on those things. There's always going to be that disparity depending on departments that get updated every so often, departments that don't get updated so often.
So do you think that has anything to do with someone liking a department as a coder versus something they don't play as and don't give a shit about?
Oh,
not officially.
I think it does. Like, a coder will code for what they want. I mean, you look at certain repos. Okay, take the most different example. Take CM.
Yeah.
They're closed source. Coders code what the administration wants. They have the strict balancing system. While with here, I have as much say. I can test merge things, but I have as much say in what gets permanently merged as a regular player.
That's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy to think that.
That's as much control as I will ever get, unless I code myself or somehow code enough that I become a maintainer myself. And head coders have also been head admins now. Like Core is a rather there's a rather famous one, obviously, recently. But there is still that separation of job roles. And I don't think they'll ever be merged. And I don't think they should be, because it gives the coder bus freedom to do what they want, and I think that's important. This is a hobby; it's not a job.
Well, of
People
course.
should do what they want.
All right. So here's. This is something to consider. I know that there has been drama, and I think drama is core to Space Station 13. Every server has drama. People who get kicked out, people who feel as though they have been cast from the Garden of Eden and must stand outside forever and rant and rave and tell everyone not to go in. It's a piece of shit, and it's on fire, and it's going to die any second, and blah, 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 blah. And with how virulent people hate servers for X, Y, and Z because it's not their conception of perfection, I know that TG is no stranger to drama. From Metaclub to the current debacle, as mentioned many times over as the, what was it? The oranges problem, or the horny granny problem, or however people want to say it. What is your input on the latest TG bit of drama, and drama from a server as a whole? Why do you think it's persistent? What do you think about what's going on? And how do you think it affects you as an admin, as a player, and as somebody who's invested so much time?
You know, there's always questions about transparency between the community and between the players, and we try very hard to make sure that the people we talk to, they know exactly about everything that we're doing. We've made statements before, we've talked to the player base, we let them know the information whenever it's possible and whenever it's applicable. And the thing about it is we always had the best interests in our players. If there is drama, we are working hard to make sure that everyone understands and everyone is safe. If someone ever has, their real life or anything that might be in, having trouble in the game, even if it's just a little thing, we try to make sure that that person is protected. Because we don't want, Space Station 13 to ruin someone's life.
Well, of course.
Yeah. That should never happen. That should never be something that should ever exist. This is a game, and this stays in the game. And we try to make sure, we try to handle that as head administrators to make sure that people don't get ruined by this game, and to make sure that we try to balance the need for transparency with the players and us. And we do it out of respect for the player base. We eventually things get worked out. People might resign, people might have trouble, but ultimately we come as a phoenix out of the ashes, and we try to make sure that everyone understands why we did what we did, and we care about the player base. That's why we're talking to you right now, because we want people to know that we're just people as well. We're just gamers.
Well, yeah.
I mean, TG has undergone, like any long-lasting internet community, especially one that was born from 4chan, it has undergone a lot of drama, but it's always persevered, it's always survived, it's always kept on going because the player base and the community care about TG. I mean, some people might be surprised to hear about this, but I myself am from 4chan. I mean, some people like to joke that the whole admin bus is Redditors now, but that's not the case. Sorry if I'm shattering some ideas here, but we've always survived, and yes, there's always going to be drama. Someone's going to be outraged about something, and there will be things that we do that players will not like. And the best we can do is to try and understand, just try and make people understand. It's not always easy to do that, especially if there's certain things you can't say for one reason or another, because there are things we have to protect. Like, you never want Space Station 13 to affect someone's real life. This is a thing we're all here to have fun with.
Right.
People don't always realize it, but we're all here just to have fun. We're gamers. We're gaming,
Yeah. So, speaking of unshakable problems, drama being ever prevalent of them, what do you think about this curse of Space Station 13, of failures and remakes? And I'm talking from professionally produced...
Oh my god.
Dwarf Fortress-esque space-based DF9, or Ion, was it? Space Station 14, Centration, the Space Station 13... Stationeers, SS3D, where the person just disappeared. I mean, what do you think of this? Is this really a curse at this point? Or do you think people realize that recreating 15 years of work from hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people is really impossible?
I think you hit the nail on the head there. As we even mentioned earlier, TG Station last year was the 7th most commented repo on GitHub. It is constantly evolving. It's constantly being updated, not by one person, but by tens, hundreds of people. I mean, we are lucky that we have one of the most active code bases. I know there are servers there are headmins and head coders from other servers who literally told me that they'd kill for our coder base. That they would love to have the number of coders we are, and they are constantly adding and fixing, and a small team of 1 to 5 people, even working full time, you're not going to be able to replicate that in just a year or two, which you have to when making a game, especially an indie game, like all the recent examples have been. It would require some real team effort from a lot of people and a lot of money to create 15 years worth of game, definitely.
It's a ton of depth as well. The thing about it is there's so many nooks and crannies of this game that cannot just be fulfilled by other things. Random question for you, but have you ever done like a in-game suicide with the nuclear authentication disk?
Yeah, you'd all flash through all the colors and the countdown.
Yeah, it's just that level of just those small things that were, you'll go nuclear whenever you do that, and you think to yourself, someone coded that, someone made that, someone put their time and effort to coding this, and they coded robotics, and they code all these in-depth systems just out of probably some caffeine binge or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can't replicate that with the closed. I mean, well, I don't want to say closed project, but with a certain type of project, like the ones that you replicate right there. And I don't believe in curses, but I think this might be one.
All right. Now we're gonna get to the serious, hard fucking question of the evening. The hardest question most DMs will struggle with at this point. Are you ready?
Ready.
I was born ready.
Clown or mime?
Clown.
Yeah, clown, definitely clown.
Yeah, they always come in.
Nothing worse. There's nothing worse than a mime that speaks. Mimes are arseholes. Fuck mimes. Clowns are great. I love clown.
I have a good story of when a clown. Well, actually, no. This is my story. This is a friend of mine. They told me that they help intended a clown once, and the clown was so thankful that they help intended them that they got into perma, and they got stuck there. So the clown, because they just patted them on the back and let them get away from the security, they broke into perma to try to save them, just because of that one thing. I'd never seen a mime do anything like that. I will say I have seen some good mimes. I have had I talked about the legs joke where I get my legs cut off. There was a mime that they did backroom surgery on me, and they gave me my legs back after I got them sawed off the first time, and I'm really thankful to that mime for giving me back those legs after they got sawed off by a captain saber, and they did backroom surgery with I think it was a glass shard, and it was a wire cutters for hemostat. They're both good, but probably clown.
Oh, except for when a clown takes off his shoes. I'm sorry. Then
That's bad. Yeah.
You're just it's part of the role, man. You got to wear the shoes and the mask and the get-up. If you're not a real clown.
So if you abandon the shoes, all bets are off.
Yeah, you're not a real clown anymore. I'm sorry, fella.
All right. I understand. Now, as we've reached the end of the interview, do you have anything you want to communicate to the Space Station 13 community at large? Shoutouts, apocalyptic warnings, requests, or so on. The time is yours.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to, as you stated earlier, I just wanted to show everyone that there is a face behind everything. There's a face behind every community. Really happy that we can actually get someone on TG to talk to you guys. I talk to you to let people know about our server, about everything that goes on. Shout out to Edward Sloan. Absolutely. Shout out to Edward Sloan. Let's see. Shout out to Gunther Viceroy, Randolph, the entire TG admin team for being great and just keeping on doing what they're doing. And absolutely, it's a great day to. It's a good day to be an admin. You
Um,
wrestled.
yeah, personally, I'm going to say something a bit more serious, in that there have indeed been happenings recently that player base weren't happy with, that I wasn't happy with. We've made mistakes recently.
Right.
And everyone makes mistakes.
Of course.
But we are working forward from that. There's going to be some changes, that some that have already been implemented and some that are coming to the way the admin team is not only polices itself, but also the way it interacts with the players. And there will be changes on the forums and on Discord, as well as on the server. And we hope that this will not only improve transparency, which is an important thing for us, but also just improve the way we interact with the community, not just on the server as well. But genuinely, thank you to everyone that makes TG what it is, to makes us this wonderful little creative hub. I mean, as Citrus says it, what other game can you say it's a running joke where someone gets their legs cut off every round? I don't think you can say that about any other game personally, but yeah, I love this game. I've played this game since 2010, as I said. I've seen it grow, and I'm pretty sure it will continue just growing because people love it. Or else we wouldn't be here. None of us would be here if we didn't love it.
I agree wholeheartedly. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time today.
Thank you very much for your time as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, man. It's been great talking.